All right, let's get right into it. We're going to explore a really powerful idea: how our brains get wired for fear and trauma. But, and this is the important part, how we can actually start to rewire our own responses to things that have happened in the past. It's a journey from automatic reflex to conscious choice.
You've probably felt this, right? It's a question that gets to so many of us. You know, logically, that an event is over, that it's in the past, but your body, your heart rate, your emotions, they react like it's all happening again, right now. So why do these memories have such an intense physical grip on our present?
To get to the bottom of that, we're going to look at two incredible perspectives. First, we've got neuroscientist Andrew Huberman, who breaks down the brain's hardwired threat detection system. And then we'll turn to mind-body expert Dr. Joe Dispenza, who talks about how our bodies, not just our brains, get conditioned to live in the past. These are two different maps, but they both lead to the same destination: freedom.
So, let's start with the brain's default programming. How does it even learn to be afraid in the first place? Well, according to Andrew Huberman, it's not so much a conscious decision as it is a completely automatic reflex. And the star of this show is the amygdala. Now, we often hear it called the fear center, but Huberman has a much better description. It's part of our threat reflex. It's this whole cluster of regions that's constantly pulling in data, what you see, what you hear, what you remember, to make a split-second call. Is this a threat? It's just like pulling your foot off attack. You don't think about it, it just happens. That's your amygdala in action. So when that threat reflex gets triggered, it kicks off this whole biological chain reaction. First, the hypothalamus, your brain's command center, sends out the alarm. That signal goes to the pituitary gland, which then shoots a message down to your adrenal glands saying, it's go time. And then, bam, you get a flood of adrenaline and cortisol, getting your body ready to either fight or run for your life. Now, here's the really wild part. This wiring process can happen unbelievably fast. Huberman calls it one-trial learning. Think about it. A kid is playing the piano at a recital and they just freeze. The embarrassment, the panic, the racing heart, that one single moment can create a powerful, lifelong fear of public speaking or performing. The brain learns that lesson in just one shot. Okay, so that's the brain side of the story. Let's switch gears now and bring in Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, because he shifts the focus from just the brain's wiring to the body's actual experience. His whole argument is that our bodies, our cells, get stuck living in the past. And if you need proof of how connected our emotions and bodies are, look at this number. It's staggering. Dr. Dispenza often points out that an estimated 75 to 90% of all visits to doctors in the Western world are rooted in emotional or psychological stress. It just goes to show you, our feelings have a massive impact on our physical health. This quote right here is the key to understanding his entire approach. It's simple but so profound. You have a thought, maybe about something that happened years ago, and that thought produces a feeling, an actual chemical sensation in your body. This creates a loop. The thought creates the feeling, and the feeling then makes you think more thoughts just like it, which creates more of the feeling, and on it goes. And this is where the real problem comes in. Your body, on a chemical and biological level, has no idea that you're just remembering something. When you keep replaying that memory and feeling those same emotions of fear or anger, your body thinks the threat is happening right now. It's essentially living in a state of emergency, 24/7, branded by an experience that is, in reality, long gone. Okay, so we have a brain that's hardwired with a threat reflex and a body that's chemically conditioned to live in the past. It sounds pretty grim, right? But this is where it gets good. How do we actually change it? This is where Huberman and Dispenza offer two very different but equally powerful paths to rewiring ourselves. So let's lay these out side by side. Huberman's method is what you could call top-down. You use your thinking brain to essentially wear out the fear response. The goal is to retell that traumatic story so many times that all the emotional energy just drains out of it. It goes from a terrible, upsetting story to a terrible, boring story. Dispenza's approach is bottom-up. You start with the body. The goal isn't to analyze the past, but to create a new, powerful feeling in the present, like gratitude, that's so strong the old emotions just become irrelevant. So if you're following Huberman's path, it's a very structured process. First, you just hammer away at the old story through journaling or therapy, telling it over and over to diminish its power. Then you start to actively build a new story, one that includes the event, but focuses on the fact that you survived, maybe even learned something. And finally, you attach a reward to that new narrative, a feeling of pride or resilience.
Now, on the other side, Dispenza's path is all about changing your physical state to change your mind. He talks about achieving heart coherence by focusing on elevated emotions like gratitude or joy. When your heart starts beating in this steady, rhythmic pattern, it sends this incredibly powerful signal of safety up to your brain. It's basically telling your brain, hey, we're safe, the emergency is over. You can power down the alarm.
So, whether you feel more drawn to rewriting the old story or creating a completely new feeling, both of these approaches give us practical, real-world tools that you can start using. This is where all the science and theory turns into action. Think of this as your personal toolkit. If you're feeling overwhelmed in the moment, you can use Huberman's Physiological Sigh. It's a double inhale through the nose, followed by a long exhale through the mouth. It literally calms your nervous system down in seconds. For longer-term work, there's his narrative journaling. From Dispenza's camp, you've got meditative presence, the practice of just becoming aware of your automatic thoughts and feelings, which is the first step to changing them. And then his core practice, cultivating elevated emotions, intentionally making yourself feel gratitude or joy to literally teach your body what a new, better future feels like. And I think this quote just says it all. This is the ultimate destination, no matter which path you take. The point isn't to erase the past. It's to separate the memory from that painful emotional charge. When you can look back on something without that intense reaction, it's no longer a wound, it's wisdom. So in the end, the question really isn't about what happened to you, it's about what you choose to do now. The power to rewire, to change the narrative, to create a new feeling, it's in your hands. So what new story are you going to start writing for yourself today?